Hey, lovely friends. It's Alexa with Blue Woods Design and Mixed Media Art School. And today's Monday prompt project is collage. And oh my goodness, you guys, I had so much fun. Look at this girl I created. I love her. So I started with just a basic pencil line sketch and I grabbed a bunch of collage papers and I'll kind of walk you through them as I go. If you are somebody who struggles with drawing faces, I have lots of tutorials both here on YouTube as well as I have a course that walks you through the basics. And those basics are the root of how I do any face. I still use those exact same things. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I will have a link below. Otherwise, you can just watch some of my other YouTube videos and get some tips and tricks through those. So I grabbed different colored papers, which I showed you earlier. And essentially anytime you're shading a face, which this is kind of a great study for light and shadows on a face. Anytime you are doing that for your face, you're going to think about three colors. You're going to pick a mid color, which is basically the skin tone. You're going to decide what color her normal skin tone is. And then you're going to pick a shade that is darker than that and a shade that is lighter than that. So I grabbed the book text as kind of her main color for her face. So then I grabbed some darker pages so that I could do the shadows, and then I'm using the white on the page sort of as the highlight. Now, I essentially decided to paint with paper today, paint with collage. I wanted to do something different than kind of using collage in the background of my art journal or something like that, because I used tons of collage and there were plenty of ways I could show collage, but I wanted to do something that just felt a little different, both for me and maybe for you guys to see. This was so fun. So I am doing torn paper. There's a couple of places where I do cut the paper and there's a specific reason for that. But right now you see me using the dark color, right? I am doing her shadows. Now, a general rule of thumb is to think about the parts that are furthest away from your light source. So you're going to pick where your light is coming from. Essentially, I'm saying the light is coming from like in front of her and to the right of the screen a little bit, right? So the left side of her face is going to be more in shadow. Now, the other places where you're going to look for shadows and shading is going to be any parts that are either further in on the face, like the eyelids, or any parts that are moved away from the face, right? Or from the light. Your face is rounded, so if you even feel your own face as your hand travels around, it gets further from the light. So your ears are naturally set back. Your upper lip is kind of shadowed. The lowest part of your nose is in shadow. You can see on the left side of the bridge of her nose, right? I put the shadow color because if the light's coming from the right, that nose is going to create just a little bit of shadow there. Under your chin, right, is going to always have some shadow. So that's how I picked those places. Now, the places where your highlights go are going to be the places that are closest to the light. So more on that right side of, like on the right side of the portrait as you're looking at it. And then places that stick out more. So your nose comes forward, your chin comes forward, your forehead comes forward. So that gives you a little bit of a sense of kind of where you put those highlights and shadows. Now, you could go way in depth. There's a lot more to it, but that's at least a good little basic overview. So if you are starting to play with lights and shadows on your faces that you're drawing, I'm not kidding. You can literally use your own hand near your face to kind of sense, right? Like put your hand out in front of your face wherever the light would be, and then move that light, your hand, straight towards the face. And as you feel your own face, you'll feel, where does it hit first? Oh, my cheek is sticking out. My nose is sticking out, right? So that really helps you. Definitely don't be afraid to kind of experiment and try that and look at reference photos, things like that. So again, I am just tearing away and gluing. So I have this sped up really, really fast. This took me, this portrait only really took me about a half an hour. But, it's a lot of repeating. So I did speed it up quite a bit just because obviously it's like at a certain point you get what I'm doing. You don't need to watch every little bit. So I did use a punch for the circles on her cheek because I really, really wanted that stark contrast of a very sharp line, considering so many of mine were torn. I also did the same for the hair. I picked this floral page for her hair because I was like, I really want her hair to be really fun. And my first thought was to grab a bunch of magazine pages and almost mosaic it, right? Take these tiny little bits and put them all there and create this really fun, crazy hair. But I found this pattern paper and I was like, this is perfect for her hair. And then I'll use it for her eyebrows as well. I use this blue for her eyes, and this one I am tearing the circle. So they are not perfect. They are not perfectly the same size. Totally fine. And then I will give her a blue shirt as well. I do go in with a brush pen at the end, only tiny. It's hard for me to not outline every little bit. But there were things like her eyebrows that I just wanted to kind of let those come forward a little, and I wanted to add a little bit of hair situation so that it wasn't just this helmet, some little wispies and things like that. But I gave her pupils and stuff like that and define the edges of her mouth and stuff. But I tried to be really loose with it. You'll see I'm holding the pen even at the back of the pen, just to have really light touch with it because, like I said, I can get carried away with a brush pen. I love that graphic outline. So I tried to be really, really cautious with it and not do that because I wanted this to be defined by these torn pieces of paper. And so that was the process, and you will see me finish her up right now, and I just love how she turns out. If you are inspired to create a collage girl, I would love, love, love to see it. Post it on your social media channels or in our Facebook group, and use the tag Monday Prompt Project. And I would love for you guys to join our Facebook group. We have a really great group over there. It is called Mixed Media Art School, so you can search it there, or I will put a link below. We also have a second piece of inspiration, and this week's piece of inspiration comes from Nicole Austin, one of our resident artists, and she does a whole blog post that walks you through how to do collage, how to use it in your art in many ways. So she doesn't just do one thing. She actually is basically giving you an awesome lesson in collage and using it in your artwork. So definitely go check that out. I will put the link for her blog post below as well. And I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with for collage because I know we all love some good torn pages and adding in all the bits. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this, and I can't wait to see what you come up with, and we will see you again next week. Bye, guys.